Hello everybody, I hope you're all doing okay. So today I just wanted to do a video and try and fill out this Easter soduko puzzle. Now this is slightly different from your normal soduko, as there is letters rather than numbers. So we're going to have a little look at that in a moment, and I have both of my dogs in the room with me, so I'm just hoping that they stay quiet. Usually my voice does calm them down, but if you hear any snoring, it's because my little one is very old now and he snores like a trooper. So I'm just going to pour myself a cup of peppermint tea, my teapot. Okay, so I'm just going to use my strainer. Okay, so I'm just going to pop that over here. Okay, so I've got a nice cup of peppermint tea. I'm just going to see if it's alright to drink. That's lovely. And it's a very rainy day here today. It's been beautiful for April, and then all of a sudden we've got a bank holiday and it starts to pour. So pretty typical really for England. So if we look at this Easter soduko puzzle, we have the solutions, so we're not going to cheat. There are some instructions, so I'm just going to read the instructions. And it says, word soduko plays just like regular soduko. Each horizontal row must show each letter exactly once. Each vertical column must show each letter exactly once. And each subgrid must show each letter exactly once. These are fairly easy soduko and require only beginner solving techniques. In the fact they are words, however, makes them a bit more challenging. And I actually facilitate cognitive stimulation therapy groups for people with early stage dementia. So we often give out things like this to try and keep them stimulated while they're at home and things like that. So this is a resource that I would use as well. I do like the little chickens as well, just makes it feel a bit more Easter-like. So I'm going to start with this puzzle here, which is the word basket. Okay, so in the first subgrid I've got a B, a T and an A. So I'm just going to have a look if I can put the S in here. So there is an S in this horizontal row. So I can't be there, but it could be there and there. Okay, so I'm going to now look at the letter K and see if I can fit that in. So there is a K in this horizontal row, so it can't go in any of those. So that leaves one box. So I'm going to pop the letter K in there. Okay. So then we're looking at, if we go back to the letter S, we now have only one option for the letter S because there is one in in this horizontal row. So I'm going to put it in this box here. Okay, so if I move on to the letter E, I can see there is only one option now for the letter E. So I'm going to put the letter E in that box. So then we've got the B, A, S, K, E and T all in that subgrid. So if I move on to this subgrid now, we've got the letter S and we've got the letter B. So I'm going to see if I can find where the letter A might fit. So in this horizontal row, there is no A. Okay, so it could go either there or there. Okay, so if I move on to the letter K, we can see there is a K in this vertical row, so that can't be a K. There is a K in this horizontal row, so that leaves us with those two options. So that is either an A or a K. So if we look at the letter E, we can see there is an E in this horizontal row. So that leaves us with two options. So I'm going to move to the letter T. So in this vertical row, there's a T. So these two boxes are out. There's also a letter T in this horizontal box. So those two are out. So the T must then go in this box. Okay, so if we go back to the letter K, we can now see this box has gone. So we've still got those two options for the letter K. The same for the letter A, sorry. But the letter E, if we look, there is an E in this horizontal row. So this is now our only option for the letter E. So I'm going to fill that in. Then we've got a full horizontal row with B, A, S, K, E, T. Okay. So if we go back to the letter A and K, we are still unsure as to where they go. Okay, so I'm going to move to the subgrid below. Okay, and in this subgrid we have got a T and a K. So if we think about the letter B, it can't go in those squares as there's a B already in that horizontal row. But there's still two options. Okay, so if we move to the letter A, we can see any of those could be the letter A. So this is quite a difficult sub-box, so I'm going to move to the sub-box down here because we have got the K, the A, the T and the E already filled in. So hopefully that should be a little bit easier. Excuse me slurping. So if we look to put the letter B in this subgrid, so there is a B in this horizontal row, that leaves us with one box left. Okay, so we're going to put the B in that box. Okay, so we've got a B, an A, a K, a T and an E, so we need the letter S. So I'm going to add the letter S. Okay, now if we go to this subgrid, we can see that none of the letters are there. So this is a bit more more challenging, but hopefully because we filled in lots of the other boxes, we might be okay. So I'm going to look at the letter T because there is a T in this horizontal row. So I'm going to now look at my vertical rows. So this one is out because there's a T in that row. This one is out because there's a T in that row. So that leaves us with one option. So I'm going to put the T in there. Now in this vertical row we have one square left. So we know that that must be the letter A. So that's making this subgrid now slightly easier to fill out, hopefully. Okay, so if we look at the letter K, because we have a K in this horizontal row, so that reduces where the K in this subgrid can go. It leaves us with these two boxes. And we can see that there is a K in this horizontal row. So that leaves us with one option. So I'm going to put the K in that box. Okay. Now if we look again down this vertical row, we are missing one letter. So we can fill in the letter that's missing. And that is the letter E. So I'm going to fill in the letter E, okay? Now, if we go to the letter B, we've still got two options for the letter B, and we've still got two options for the letter S. So I'm going to leave that subgrid at the moment and move to this blank subgrid at the bottom. Okay, so if we look at T, the reason I'm looking at T is because I know that these boxes cannot contain a T because there is a T in this vertical row and there is a T in this vertical row, and then there is also a T in this horizontal row. So that leaves us with just this square. So I'm going to put the T in there, okay? Then I'm going to think about the letter B again, okay? So we've got two options for the letter B at the moment. Going into this horizontal row, okay? So if we look at the letter A, we've got three options for the letter A, okay? What about the letter E? So there is an E in this vertical row. There is an E in this horizontal row. So that leaves us with this square. So I'm going to put an E in there, okay? So I think we might need to move back to this box. Yeah, no, we've still got two options for the A and the K, so we haven't quite managed to fill in this subgrid. So I'm going to move to this subgrid again and look at the letter. Let me think, what about the letter? So B could still go there and there. A could still go there, there and there. What about the letter S? Oh, we've got three options for the letter S. So let's think about the letter E, okay? Because we know there is an E in this vertical row. There is an E in this vertical row, and there is also an E in this horizontal row. So that leaves us with one option. So we can put the E in there. And that means we have filled in all the letter E's now. Okay. So we have got now a horizontal row here, which is missing the letter B. So I can fill in the letter B. Okay. Now let's go back to this one and see if we can fill the letter B in now, because we've got a B in this vertical row, we've got a B in this vertical row, which leaves us with a blank square. So I'm going to put the B in there. Okay, so I think we can fill in the letter A, as there's an A in this row, so it must go in this square. That leaves us with B-A-S, so we need an S in the last square. Okay, so that's 3 subgrids all complete. Okay, so if we go back to the top grid, we can see now this cannot be an A, as there's an A in this row. So this must be the A. And then by process of elimination, that must be the K. Now if we look in this row, we've got a B, A, we need an S. So this must be the S. Okay. We've got another 2 rows, both missing 1 letter. So B-A-S, so that must be the K. B-A, so that's the A. Okay. If we look along this row, we're missing the letter B, so we can fill in the letter B. Then we've got B-A, so we need the letter S. Okay. So B-A-S-K-E-T, 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 B-A-S-K-E-T. So we've done the first puzzle basket. Okay. Now this next grid has thrown me slightly because it's the word sprout. Now I don't know about you, but I don't generally have sprouts at Easter. I usually have sprouts at Christmas. So I'm a little confused, unless I'm missing some. I like sprouts, but not usually at Easter. But we'll go with it, shall we? Okay, so we're looking for the word sprout. So I'm looking for the subgrid with the most letters. Now we've only got 2 letters in these ones. Okay, so we'll start with the first one and see how we get on. Okay, so we're looking for the letter P to start with. So it's obviously not in those 2 squares, as there is a P sitting in that row going down. Okay, but that could be a P and that could be a P. So if we move on to the letter R, okay, that cannot be an R because there's an R in that grid, in that row, the vertical row. But they could be the letter R, okay? So we move on to the letter U, okay? We've got no U's that we can use for this subgrid, so we're going to move on to the letter T, okay? So We know there's already a T in this horizontal row, so it's definitely not there. Then if we look down, we can see a T in this vertical row. So we've got one option left. So this must be our T. Okay. So I'm going to move on to the grid below. Okay. And see if I can fill out any letters. So the S could be these two squares, as there's an S in this row. Okay, we're looking at P, the letter P. So we've got a P in this vertical row. We've also got a P in this horizontal row. So we've got two options for the letter P. So if we move on to the letter O, we can see we've only got one possible square that's definitely not an O. So U again, we're struggling a bit with U as we've only got one U that's filled out. So, and we've got the letter T already in. So if I move up to this sub-square, okay, looks like it might be our best option, hopefully. So we've got the letter S, so we're looking for the letter P, okay. Now I know there is a P in this vertical row, so that cannot be the letter P. But we've still got two squares, okay. So if we move on to the letter R, we have no R's in any of the rows, okay, so any of those could be the letter R. So I'm thinking this one might be slightly trickier. So looking at the letter O, we have an O in our vertical row here, and we have a horizontal row, and we have an O in this vertical. So we've still got two options for our O. Our U, well, that can't be a U, but we've still got three options. Okay, so we're not doing very well at the moment. So if we move down to the bottom, now this looks hard because there is just one letter filled in, but hopefully we might find something. So if we're looking for the letter S, we know these two squares are not the letter S because there's an S already there in that row. The letter P is there. R, okay, so we've got those two squares that can't be the letter R. We're looking at the letter O, okay, so we've got a letter O in this horizontal row, which means we've narrowed it down a bit. So then if we look at this vertical row, we can see an O. So this has to be the letter O. Okay. Now we know that's an O, so we know that cannot be an O. These two boxes can't be an O. That can't be an O. So we know this one is the letter O. Okay. So then moving on to this subgrid, we can see these three squares are not the letter O, as there's one O now in that row. Coming down, we can see an O in this row. So we only have one option, which is this square. So we're going to fill in that O. Okay. So we can now fill in the O in the top grid as well. As is, that's not an O, that can't be an O, that can't be an O. So we've got one box for the O. So we filled in all the letter O's now, which is quite helpful. So if we look now at the letter, let me think now. If we look at this subgrid and we go back to the letter S, we can see there's an S in this row, which leaves us with one box for the letter S. So we're looking for the letter P. So we're coming along, there's the letter P, so that is not the P. So we will put the P in that box, which leaves us with one space in this subgrid for the letter U. So we've got S-P-R-O-U-T. Okay. Now this vertical row has one space left as well. So S-P, so we need the R in that box. Okay. Now if we go back to our top box, we are looking for the letter P. So there is a P in this row, so that means this square must be the letter P. Okay, so what about the letter U? We still don't know where the letter U goes in that one. So if we move on to the grid at the bottom, we're looking for the letter S. So there is an S in this row, which leaves us one space for our S. Okay. So S-P-R-O-U. Now we've got a U in this row, so we have one option for the U. So this grid just needs one more letter. So S-P-R-O-U, so we need the letter T. So if we go to our top grid again, we are looking for the letter R. We still don't know where that goes. And we're looking for the letter U, but we still can't see that one. So if we come across, we can see we need the letter P in this box, so that can't be a P. And we know there's a P in this row, so that leaves us with one option. Okay, so S, P, R. So we still need an R. But looking at the rows, we still can't fill in the R or the U. So we're a bit stuck with that grid at the moment. So we're going to move to the one underneath. So we're looking for an S in this box. So we know that can't be an S. So we have one option to finish that row. Okay. So S, P, R. We still can't fill in that R. So we're still lacking R's at the moment, which is a bit of a worry. So O, U. Can we fill in the U? We still can't fill in the U. Can we fill in the T? Nope, we still can't fill in the T. So let's move to our box at the bottom. Okay, so we still need an S in this box. So we know these two can't be an S. And looking at it now, we have an S now in this row as well, so that leaves us with one square for our S. And then we need to fill in this row, so S, P, so we need an R. So we finally found our R. Okay, so we need a P, so that can't be a P. So this must be the letter P. Now we can fill in this row and this subgrid. So S-P-R-O-T-U-T. So then if we try and fill in the T in this box, we've got a T there, we've got a T there, so we know that's a T. We've also got a vertical row with one space missing. So S-P-R, so we need an R. S-P-R-O-U, so there's our U, which means that has to be a U. S-P-R, and that has to be the R. S-P-R, there's our R. S-P-R-O-U, and there's our final U. Okay? So we've got no duplicates in any of the boxes or in our rows. So that's a good one. It was a little bit harder, I thought, that one. Okay, so I'm going to move on to this slightly larger one. Ducklings. Okay, so we've got a few more letters here to fill in. Okay, so if we look at which one looks like the easiest one, so I'm gonna look at maybe, we'll go for the top one. Okay, so I will look at the letter D, as there's no D in this subgrid. Okay, and we've got no D's. I can't see D's anywhere. So we've got the U, we've got the C, we've got the K. So what about the letter L? We've got an L in this row, we've got an L in this row, so that leaves us with one square. So we're going to fill in the letter L. Okay, so L-I. So I, that can't be an I, but that leaves us with 3 boxes. So we're going to leave the letter I. The letter N is there. The letter G, that can't be a G, along there. That leaves us with 2 options. And the letter S, that could be there or there. There's no S. Okay, so we're going to move to the next box. And we're going to forget about the D, because I don't see any D's on that grid at the moment, so they are going to have to wait. So there is a U. Now we're looking for the letter C. So we have a C in this row. We have a C in this row. So it's still 2 options. The letter K. So we have a K in this row. And we have a K in this row. Okay. So let's look at the letter L is there. So the letter I. Just that row. So we've still got some options. The letter N. Okay. So that goes across. So not in there. An N down there. So not in there. So still 2 options. Okay. The letter G, we can go across there. There's a G. Coming down, there's a G. So we've not been very good with that box at the moment. So let's move on to the next box. Okay. So we're going to forget the D for now. We're going to look at the letter C. Okay. So we can see a C in that row going down. And still 2 options. This is a lot harder, this one. K. Let's have a look at K. So there's a K in that row. And there's a K in that row. So that still leaves us with options. So L-I, the letter N. Okay, so there's an N going across, but no N's coming down. Okay. G, what about the letter S? We might No, we're still not in luck, are we? There's an S in that row, an S in that row, an S in that row, and still 2 options. Okay, so let's move down to this box. Okay, so if we get the D, so let's see if there's a U. So U across and a U coming down, 2 options. CK, looking at the L. So we've got an L coming down here. We've got an L in this row. We've also got an L in this row. So we've got 1 blank space to put our letter L. Okay, so that's good. That's good. And actually, if we think about the letter L, I think because these 2 are out and we've got 2 L's down there, we've got a blank space for an L. Okay, so I'll fill in that letter L. Okay, so that's good. Right, and I think we can fill in the L in this box. There's an L down there, there's an L down there, and there's an L coming across, so that leaves us with 1 box, so that's good. Okay, so I think that's all the L's. L, yeah, that's all the L's filled in. Okay, so if we come back to, let's have a look at this box down here. Okay, so U, C, so we're looking for a K now, so there is K in this row coming down, a K in this row, still 2 options. Okay, I's there, so let's look at the N. So there's an N coming down here and there's an L going across. Okay, so still 2 options. The letter G is across there, but that's it. The letter S is only there. Okay, so let's look at this sub-grid. Okay, so D, U. So we'll look at the letter U, so that's going across there and across there, but still those 2 boxes there. So K, L, I, so there is an I going across, an I going across there and an I going across there. So that leaves us with 1 blank square for our letter I. So let's move back to this top box and have a little look now. Okay, so U, C, K, so the letter L is there, so the letter I can't be there, can't be there. Too many options. The letter N is in, the letter G can be there or there. The letter S can be there or there. Okay, so let's go maybe back to this box. We'll have a little look. So the letter U comes down here and it's there, so that leaves us with 1 box for the letter U. Okay, so what about this? So we've got a U across there, a U across there, and a U coming down, so that leaves us with 1 box. Okay, so we might be able to fill this one in as well. So U coming down, so we've got 1 box for our U. Okay, so U, 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 U. So all the U's are now done, which is good. Okay, still can't fill in those D's, I don't think, but we'll keep looking. So we've got, what about this one? We need the D, which could be any of them. U-C-K-L-I. So what about the letter N? Nope. Okay, what about the letter G? We've got a G coming down here, so we've got a blank square for our G. Okay, so that's good. So, does that help us fill this one in? No, it doesn't, does it? Because we've still got boxes there. Okay, so if we go back to maybe, let's have a look. Let's think about this box here now. Okay, so D-U-C-K-L-I-N. So we're looking for the letter S. Okay, so that can't be an S. So we've got one box there for our S. And now we can fill in our first letter, D. So we've got a full box there with ducklings written in, which is great. So if we come back to this square here, okay, so D, U, C. Let's have a look at the C. So that can't be a C, that can't be a C, that can't be a C. So there we've got a C in a blank box there. Okay. So then if we look up here, we can see that's not a C, that can't be a C, so we've got another box there for our C. Okay, so can we fit? We can't fit a D in yet, so DU. So what about our K? Still can't fit our K in. Okay, so what about this box here? So we've got D there and there. U, C, what about our K? So that can't be a K, that can't be a K, so we have a box here for the letter K. Okay? Now, what about these two? So we need a D in here. C, U, C, K, L, so we need an S. So that's either a D or an S. I can't fill that in just yet. Okay, so let's have a look at maybe this box again. So D, U, C, K, L. So we need the letter I. Nope. The letter N, G. So that can't be a G, but those can. And the letter S. Nope. Okay. So this is a bit more tricky than the other two. Okay, so if we look at, we've got two squares here now. So we obviously need the D, D-U-C-K-L. We also need an N. Okay, so we know that has to be a D or an N. Okay, so what about this one? So we've got D-U-C, where would the K, so that can't be a K along there, so we've got a blank space for a K, so we can put the K in, which is good. So this box here hasn't got a K in just yet, so that can't be a K, that can't be a K. Coming down, that can't be a K, so we have one space left for our K. Okay, K. Right, so let's see, we've got all the K's now filled in. Yep. Oh no, this box here. Okay, so coming down, that can't be a K, they can't be a K, and that can't be a K. So we can fill in all the K's now. Okay, which is good. I've got to stop saying okay. So if we move on to, so D, U, C, K, L, I, can we fill in our N? So that can't be an N, and that can't be an N. So there's our letter N. Okay? Just did it again. Right, so we're looking for D, U, C, K, L, I-N. What about a G? No, we're not doing very well with the G's along here. But I have spotted a G coming down here. So we've got space there for our G, which means we're now missing one letter in this row. Okay, so D-U-C-K-L-I-N. So we can fill in the N. Then we're missing one letter here, which is our D. We need lots of those. So then we're looking at this row here. So D-U-C-K-L-I-N. So we're looking for our G. Okay. So does this help at all? No, still got two options for our G. Never mind. Let's see, what about these two squares? So D-U-C-K-L-N. So we're looking for an S. Nope. Still not happening. Okay, so let's go to this box again. We needed a D and a D-U-K-L and an N. So no, we're still not good with that one. Not very good at all, is it? So D-U-C-K-L-N. Oh dear, and an S. Oh, okay, never mind. So D-U-C. That can't be a C. That can't be a C. Those two can be. So K-L-I. What about the letter I? No. The letter N. Up there. Yeah, oh dear. The letter G. Okay, so we've got a G there. We've got a G there. Okay. And the letter S is there. Okay, we're not doing very well here, are we? So K-D-U-C-K-L-I. Nope. N is already there. G, can't be that one. Can't be that one. And the letter S, got to be up there. So that's got to be a letter S. So that can't be an S. That can't be an S. So this must be the letter S. So we'll fill that one in. So D, we're not sure. D-U-L-N. So the letter N. Nope. And the letter D. Okay, so those N's are being very problematic as well, aren't they? Okay. So we have to start thinking, like just there, that has to be a letter. So that can't be a letter. So we have to start thinking a bit more critically, really, don't we? Okay, so what are we looking for now? So we need D-U-C-K-L-I could be there. There and there. Okay. So, letter N. That can't be an N. Oh, hang on. That can't be an N. And that can't be an N. So we have a spare box for the letter N. Yes, we've got an N. Good. Okay, I apologise, my daughter's banging doors. Asked her to be quiet, but you know what they're like. Okay, so let's have a look. So we've got D-U. What about the letter C? Can we fit the letter C? No, still two options. K-L. What about the letter I? That can't be an I, so we put the I in. Okay. Then we go to the letter N. We already got the N. G. G and S. Okay, so let's come back down here now and just still a D, C, K, L, D and an S. Okay, let's come to this one now. Okay, so D, U, what about the C? That way and that way. D, U, C, K, L, I. So that's an I, and there's an I, and there's an I. So we got a blank square for our I. Okay. So then we move on to the N. Okay, so that can't be an N there. That can't be an N. So we've still got two options there. Okay, so the letter G coming across. No. What about the letter S? So we've got an S in this row. We've got an S in this row. We've got an S in this row. So that leaves us with one square, which is good. Okay, good. Right, so D, U, C. Where is the C? So there's a C coming down here. There is a C going across. So a C across here. There's a C coming down and a C in this row. So this has to be, no, not this one, sorry, this one has to be a C. Okay, good. Good, good, good. So if we're looking for C in this box, we go across and we come down. So this has to be a C, which is good. So D, U, C, K, L, I. So we're looking for an N. There's an N down this row. There is an N in this row. So this is our letter N. Okay. So then we're looking for our D. We still can't fill in. D, U, C, K, L, N. So G, the letter G. Oh, yeah, there's a G in that row, so we can fill in the G, and that's our D. Okay? So we've got then D and D, so that has to be the D. Okay, that's good. Good, good, good. So if we... Oh, we've got one letter missing here. So D, U, C, K, L, I, N, G, so that's our S. Fabulous. So then that must be our S, and that's our D. Okay, it's all starting to fit now, isn't it? So S, S, so that's our S. Then we've got D coming up. Oh, they could still be both D. Okay, never mind. Let's look at this one. So D, still D and N. Yep, D and N. Oh dear. Right, so we're looking for the D, U, C. So that's the C, K, L, and R, I. Fabulous. Okay, so let's have a look at this one now. We've got a what do we need in here? A D, U, C, K, L, I, N, G. What about the G? G along there. Oh dear. And the S. Oh, it's got tricky again. So we need a D. That can't be a D, so that's got to be the D. D, U, C, and K, L, I. So that's our N. Good. Okay. Looking a bit better now. We need a D, U, C, K, L, I. We need an N. Okay, so that's good. still two options for our letter D. Okay. So D, U, C, K, L. So our letter I. There. Oh dear. I, N. Letter G. Okay. So what are we looking at here? A D and a C, K, L and an I. Oh, so that can't be the I. So that's the I. And that's the D. So D, U, C, K, L, A, N. Lovely. Good. Okay. Nearly there. So that's our letter D. Okay. So D, D. So that's our letter D. So D, U, C, K, L, I, G. Coming down. D, U, C, K, L. And that's an I. So D, U, C, K, L, I. And that's our G. Yes. And that's completed. That was a real challenge, that one. Really quite difficult. So I would probably say should leave that one for last, really, but never mind. So anyway, that's taken me an hour to complete those, so I'm a little bit ashamed of myself. Okay, but having a go at these puzzles is good, isn't it? Gets your brain going and gets you thinking. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that and that you have a lovely Easter, and I shall hopefully see you soon. Take care.